Hello, this video is going to go over factoring trinomials, and I want to show you that we've been doing something like that in a couple weeks back with these diamond problems. So just to refresh your memory, some of these diamond problems, they all follow the same rule where the top cell is going to be the product of the numbers that are left and the right, and the bottom cell is going to be the sum here of those two numbers in the left and right. So there are some of these, like this one, where you were given the product and the sum, but you don't know what the left and right numbers are. So you had to ask yourself, what number would multiply to get negative 21, for example, and add together to make 4. So you had to put together some of those numbers. So for negative 21, negative 7 and 3, that could make a product of negative 21. However, they don't add up to positive 4. So if you do 7 times negative 3, that's going to make negative 21. And adding those together, that is going to make a positive 4. Okay, so those were some of those examples of diamond problems in that activity there. But with factoring polynomials or trinomials for this one, you're going to see that it's going to require looking at the same kind of rule in here. So this is asking you to factor this polynomial here. And to think of it in this way, an idea of looking at it is that you're trying to factor it into these two binomial groups. So if you remember back when we were multiplying polynomials, it's maybe that you multiply these two binomials together and you'll get a trinomial like this. I just want to show you an example what it would look like if you factor this, and then how it would look like if we just brought it backwards from there. So if I were trying to factor this, I can use the same idea about a diamond problem, because what's going to happen is that what I'm going to multiply, the two values that I'm going to multiply, they also have to add up to make up the middle term that you see here. So this one has x squared minus x minus 20. I'm going to just note that I have this coefficient of negative 1 over here for the middle term. So that's what I mean by the middle term. The middle term is with x, and that's it. And so this coefficient, the coefficient has only negative 1 there. This one, I am asking myself that I want there to be two numbers that multiply to make negative 20, but then they will also add to make that middle term, which is negative 1. So when I do that, I'm doing that diamond problem again. And if I try to find out, then I can put together all of my factors of negative 20. So I have 4 times negative 5. I have negative 4 times 5. 2 times negative 10, or negative 2 times 10. I also have 1 times negative 20, or negative 1 times 20. So which of these pairs, they all multiply to get negative 20, but now you ask yourself, which of these pairs add up to make negative 1? Well, if I look over, it happens to be the very first one, luckily, and it's going to be 4 plus negative 5 makes negative 1. So I am using this pair to put into this diamond problem. So I have 4 and negative 5. Doesn't matter whether you're doing negative 5 and 4. It doesn't matter in which order you're putting into that one. But it's still following this rule. So now that I have 4 and negative 5 in here, I'm going to include that into this to make my factors for this trinomial. So I have x squared minus x minus 20, I'm going to put it into these binomials here, and I'm going to say that I have x, and I'm going to have plus 4 as one of my missing terms in this factor, and I'm going to put minus 5 as the other missing term in that factor. What happens if I have these two binomial factors and I decide to multiply them together? If I multiply this, that means I have to make sure to distribute this correctly. I need to distribute x to all the terms in the other factor. And then after that, I need to multiply 4, distribute that 4 with all the other terms in this factor, okay? So let's try that. Actually, I'll do this in a different color. So let's start with, so I'm going to do that. Let's start with that first part. I have x times x makes x squared. And then I have x times negative 5, that makes negative 5x. Now let's try the other one. I'm distributing the 4 to x and to negative 5. 4 times x is positive 4x. And 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. And let's make sure to combine any like terms. I see that I can combine negative 5x and 4x together. That's going to make a negative x. What I have here is I get back x squared minus 1x, or minus x, minus 20. So isn't that the same thing as what we started with over here? So what's happening here when it's asking you to factor something, it's almost like you're trying to put it into this form, because if you decide to multiply those together, you'll get back this answer, or this polynomial. So my answer for this when I'm factoring this is x plus 4 times x minus 5. Okay, when I am factoring here, factoring these trinomials, I am going to set it up like this. I have parentheses, I have this group, I have x first, and then I'm going to find out what do I need that's missing in there. So you would have to do your diamond problem again. This one here, I am going to deal with, when I make this, I use a diamond problem here, I'm dealing with negative 10 and 24. So I'm going to have negative 10 as my sum. I'm going to have 24 as my product. What numbers multiply to get 24 and that they add to make negative 10? Continue on with your list of factors here. I'm going to do, well, I know 6 and 4 make 24, but I know that adding them together is going to make a positive 10. I need to be in a negative 10. And that's already giving you a hint that you need to change the signs in some way. So actually, I could make both of these negative, and that will make a positive 24. Negative times a negative number will make a positive number. So then I have negative 6 times negative 4, that makes 24. And adding negative 6 plus negative 4 makes negative 10. So that is going to be my pairs that I'm going to put here. Negative 6, negative 4. What do I do with negative 6 and negative 4 now, since I've answered this diamond problem correctly? I'm going to put negative 6 in one of the missing terms in that group. And I'm putting negative 4 over here too. So my final factored form is x plus negative 6 times, parentheses, x plus negative 4. Another way of writing that is x minus 6 times x minus 4. That's my factored form. Okay, so maybe you're wondering just how can you just make sure? You can check by multiplying everything back, and then you should get back the same one that you started with. So if I multiply x minus 6 times x minus 4, I should get back x squared minus 10x plus 24. If I don't get that back, then you know that you need to check your factors again. You might need to fix something in your diamond problems, okay? All of these are actually, you can check for yourself before submitting. It is possible to do that because at the very end of this, there is this kind of like an answer sheet, but it doesn't give it away which one it is. If you found one of your factors from what you worked in there, you can scan this QR code. If your phone has a QR code scanner, then you can scan this and then it'll tell you a number, and that's going to be the question number. It's there. Okay, so let's go back to here. X plus 4 times x minus 5, that's number 1. So if I look over here inside of my inside of this answer key, if I find one that has x plus 4, x minus 5, I should, when I scan this, you should see a number 1 in there because question 1, that was the answer for it. Okay, so let me know if you have questions on these types of problems. Do your best to think of it as doing a diamond problem again, and then you'd have to put it into this form.